This is the Kestrel Country Podcast, where we discuss the people, places, and events all around Kestrel Country. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kestrel Country Podcast. This is another first episode of 2021. We're dropping two at once. So Here we are coming to you from my office here at Kestrel Realty Group on 6th Street in Moscow, Idaho. And I'm joined once again by my lovely wife, Catherine.
Hello, hello.
So this episode's really fun. This was our first interview of 2021. Yep. Yeah. We had Marshall Gallagher from Gallagher Contracting here in Moscow on, and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff.
We really did. Remodels, small project work, do-it-yourself stuff, some hot tips, cleaning tip, which I won't spoil right now. Yeah,
that was fun. Marshall, we've known for a while. Great guy. He's done some work on our house. He's done a lot in construction over the years, and then fairly recently started Gallagher Contracting. So we got to talk to him about not only what he's doing, but again, a lot of fun stuff about remodeling, trends, things coming up. And yeah, I learned a lot. So fun conversation. Hope you guys like it. Hope you enjoy it. We'll talk about it at the end again, but Gallagher Contracting, Marshall Gallagher you can find him on Instagram or Facebook, Gallagher, Gallagher Contracting _Moscow.
And then he was gracious enough to send us some pictures of their remodel work on their house. So we'll get those dropped so you can take a look at those on the blog, which would be on movetomoscow.com, as well as on our blog at Kestrel Realty Group.
Cool. Okay. Well, without further ado, let's get into our conversation with Marshall. Marshall, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
Marshall Gallagher with Gallagher Contracting. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So when did you start Gallagher Contracting?
So I started it just over a year ago. It was December of 2019.
Nice. Good time to start a business right before 2020.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what were you doing before that?
Well, I have been working off and on in construction. Well, mostly on in construction for about 10 years, and then I was pursuing a career in the medical field.
Nice. So what made you decide to make the switch not the switch from construction, because you were doing construction, but pursue that instead of the medical stuff?
Yeah, so I had worked in construction for quite a while, and I didn't just love it. It was kind of a lot of the same thing. It was pretty just kind of humdrum, and I wanted something that was a little bit more challenging. And when I decided to go into the medical field, I was working at a hospital, but I needed a second job. And so I started just doing stuff on the side. And I realized that I really loved working with clients directly and coming up with, working on a little bit more complicated remodel projects and having to come up with unique solutions to problems. And so I did it for about 6 months, and I just realized I actually really love what I'm doing. And so that's when I decided to drop out of school and start pursuing it full time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, is that when you did our tile backsplash?
Yes.
And I made you chip out the color, because we switched colors partway through on our grout. And I love it.
Some clients are a pain.
I know. Massive pain. But no, so is it the creativity side that you like, being able to help somebody envision a remodel and that artistic element?
Yeah, before it was just kind of a lot of the really basic same things kind of over and over, and then actually being able to be there from the beginning, from the the planning stage and the creativity stage and coming up with solutions. And then also I found that a lot of my clients don't actually know what they want. And so helping them realize and being able to explain things in terms, because a lot of times I can sit there and look at a project and just see the end result, but not everybody can, and so you have to figure out how either draw stuff out or come up with Pinterest boards different ways of explaining things to them so that they can see that end vision, because you can't just explain it really quick and then they were like, oh yeah, okay. It doesn't work that way often.
No,
Yeah.
well, and it's daunting and overwhelming, I think, when you're the homeowner, for instance, looking at a project and thinking, how am I going to make all these decisions?
Yeah.
So having somebody come in and kind of make, at least for me, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Or advice and opinions. Well, will this work? What about wear and tear? What about, there's so many factors.
Yeah, and I've also found, like, when helping them make decisions, there's certain things that I'll consult them about, because I think, no, this is important. Like, they want their stamp on this. And then there's other stuff that I've realized I'm just going to make this executive decision because it will tie into the home, and it's not something they're actually going to care about. And so that way you can help limit their decisions so they're not overwhelmed through the whole process.
Has that ever backfired yet?
No, because it's usually relatively, like, insequential things.
Stuff they wouldn't want to even or know about.
Yeah, things like, they go through and they pick their light fixtures, and I notice that they're picking black accents. So when I go to order their doors, I just order black hinges, because I know that they're going to want black hinges.
And they
it's gonna
probably
tie
wouldn't
in.
even think about that.
No,
Yeah.
but I don't want to have to call them and be like, so do you want brushed nickel, or do you want, chrome, or do you want black, or do you want bronze? And
Yeah.
it's just all these decisions where, like, they're not even going to notice. It's just will be black. And then if it did backfire, it's usually insequential dollar amounts that I can be like, okay, I'll switch these out for chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's funny that you mentioned black light fixtures,
Yeah.
black accents. Are you seeing that as a trend?
Currently?
yes, yeah, it's been really hip right now. A lot of just white and black is really popular. I think in what is trendy right now is kind of a bit timeless. So you'll see some, if you kind of look through things, like greens are really popular, and so you'll see some kind of crazy colors going out there. But, like, I find that a lot of people base elements, they just want super simple, usually like white walls, white trim, and then they'll build their color palettes more with accents than.
That's what I like. I love white. I mean, especially up here where it's dark throughout a lot of the year. You want the white and bright interior to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen, so you mentioned like black light fixtures. I hadn't really seen that much of that. And then all of a sudden I feel like I've had clients talking that way. I have one client they're doing black plumbing fixtures too.
Yeah.
Is that,
So they
must
are
be out of the loop, but I was like, wow, black plumbing fixtures.
They are really trendy right now. It's a little bit difficult because it's kind of hard to get consistent black. So what's really nice about things like brushed nickel is if you jump from brand to brand, they're going to look the same. But if you have a black fixtures, you're going to get maybe like a satin black fixture or a matte black fixture or an oil rub bronze that is basically black with like a little bit of bronzy texture in there. And so I think it's still a new enough trend that it's kind of a little bit more difficult to work with, but it's doable. Plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, even like outlet switches and stuff like
Are
that
going black.
Really?
So one
That's
question
kinda
I
cool.
have, because we deal a lot with cleaning on property management.
Yeah.
So that would be my number one question. We have hard water. So does it stain on the black? Should people be drying it? And if you're using any kind of abrasive cleaner,
Yeah.
does that damage it?
So it does. I think probably the fixture that's going to hide the most hard water will be the brushed nickel because it's already kind of a cloudy texture. As far as cleaning it, I recommend people use walnut shell sponges because they're very abrasive and they don't actually scratch anything.
Wow.
So
Okay,
that's
I need
like
to
a
look
little
those
bit
up
of
now.
tip.
Walnut
Yeah.
shell
Walnut
sponges. So the actual
shell.
sponge is like made
Out
of
of walnut.
crushed walnut
Yeah.
shells or
Oh,
something.
interesting.
And it feels like a
Interesting.
normal sponge,
But
but
it's
you
just-
can be super. We have in our Airbnb, we have a chrome fixture, so it's super shiny,
Right.
and we always want to make sure that looks super shiny when people come in because it's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
obvious, and you can just scrub really hard at that thing and it doesn't scratch it at all.
Oh, that's nice. What cleaner do you
Good
use? Because
tip.
I know like you don't want to get comment on
No, 'cause-
your stuff. That'll
Yeah,
hurt the finishes.
We have just a natural disinfectant
That works on
spray.
that, and then
yeah,
the walnut shell
so
and
but
it
like
keeps
an
it all-
all-purpose cleaner, I think would be fine. The walnut shell is just really awesome.
That's
it's
really
really
cool.
good at cleaning.
That is cool.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good tip.
it is a good tip. So your Airbnb,
yeah.
you guys remodeled that completely. How long did that take? And speaking of vision from the beginning to the end, where did that start?
Okay, so we had started looking for a home maybe in 2017. I don't know, you might remember, Mike.
Could be.
And
The
we
years
looked,
blur together.
We were living in an apartment at the time that our landlord was interested in selling, but like a lot of things had to kind of fall into place, and so it wasn't like a done deal. So we started looking for other stuff, and we put Mike through the ringer. Like every time we looked at something, it was just like not what we wanted. We kept comparing it to the apartment that we were living in. We really wanted to buy where we lived, and so we just looked and looked and looked, and we couldn't find anything. And I think it was like a 1.5-year process. And then the house that we ended up buying, I saw just leaving a friend's house. I hadn't seen it at all. Texted Mike. It had actually been on the market for a while, and we walked in, and it was the first house. Like my wife and I both were just like, we love it.
It was also a disaster at the time. So.
Yes, it was a little bit, a bit run down. But like, it was the first time where we're like, we can see ourselves living in this part of town. This is, and it had lended itself. It had an addition put on sometime in the 70s. And so there was a part of the house that felt very separate from the rest of the house. And so in my mind, it was just like the perfect place to add, wall it off from the rest of the house and make it an apartment. Mm-hmm. So I saw it from the walking in there. I went home and drew it up for my wife, and she was like, oh, okay, I can see it. Then we went back and looked at it again, and we're like, we can make this work. We closed on a Wednesday, and we started ripping drywall and walls down that Wednesday evening. And it was kind of a longer process than we had anticipated. I was hoping like a 2 or 3 month process, and it took us, I think, almost 6 months to get it running. Mm-hmm. I was working full time.
Yeah.
My wife was working full time. We had a newborn baby.
Thank you. Yes.
Makes it busy.
That makes the remodel process slower.
Yeah. But there was at one point where we had like demoed the back of the house, and then we ripped all the carpet up in the front of the house and had the floors refinished. So it was like a month or 2 after we moved in, and so we had to take everything back out of the front of the house, and we put it in the back that was like gutted and demoed. And we were like laying in bed, and we had like blown in insulation like wafting down onto our bed. And I was like, well, I should probably have waited like a week or 2 to do this. So, but it was a fun experience. It was a lot of late nights. But I probably, if I were to do it again, I'd probably be a little bit more calculated, and then maybe even consider like hiring certain things out, because there's stuff that obviously I'm capable of doing, but it would have just been better to get certain like plumbing and electrical just done.
You did pretty much all of it yourself.
Yeah, I had on the plumbing and electrical, I had a little bit of a help because it was my first time ever working on that, but yeah, I did most of it all myself, and it was just a huge learning curve. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's 1 bedroom.
Yeah,
one bedroom Airbnb. How's it gone?
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
Even throughout all of that.
What did 2020 look like?
Yeah, so we were booked, because we started it in the beginning of 2019, and the first year was just fantastic.
Yeah.
We kept upping our prices and just kept getting people. And then we hit 2020, and we didn't adjust our prices. We were totally booked all spring, and then as like COVID became more of a thing, people just started canceling, and Airbnb offered the option to cancel like free of charge. And so we lost all of our business from about March till June. I think we were like pretty much totally dead. We even had a couple come and stay with us for a month, like as a long-term rental situation. Well, they were waiting for their apartment to free up. And it was we just kind of rode the storm. It was, and then in June things started picking up. It's not the market that it was before COVID. Our prices aren't as high as they were, but
there's no football really.
Yeah, we don't have any
weekends.
of those big weekends, but we kind of, it started picking up, and then now, we're pretty solid. We've been booked solid all through December and January.
That's great.
It's weird, the dynamic of the people that we're seeing are people like wanting to get a little bit like a getaway. We're coming to Moscow for a getaway. We live 2 hours away. It's no longer people coming from across the country or people from out of the country. There are a lot of people up from Spokane, up from Boise, all over Oregon. We've had guests. So it's been kind of interesting to see the dynamic change. And then I was reading an article on Airbnb, And that was actually something that they noticed as a company. They almost went under at the start of COVID, and then they totally redirected their marketing scheme to appeal to local people because people just wanted little getaways.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting.
That's
Well,
fascinating.
jumping onto the do-it-yourself question, because
Okay.
since you're helping people with remodel plans and projects, what are the big key items that you would recommend not doing yourself?
Well, okay, so that one's a hard one.
Okay.
I don't actually really discourage people from anything, and I have a lot of
Okay.
clients because I'm working kind of in a niche with like smaller projects, bathrooms, kitchens. It's not necessarily an entire house remodel where they're working with the bank loan or whatever. They're kind of on a pretty limited budget, and so I have a lot of people that want to try to do as much as they can themselves, and I'm super happy and willing to work with them. It's kind of like a catch-22 with the scheduling, you know. Like if you're going to do something, then you have to do it like in the evenings when I'm not there so that it's ready for me to go on to the next, you know, step. And
Right.
if it's not, then I will end up doing it. And so kind of just working those schedules. But I'm really on board to I encourage people to push themselves, watch videos. There's so much out there to get help on, and then I can go in and fix stuff. So I think if I were to like say one thing that probably shouldn't do is like structural framing.
Okay.
That one, because a lot of things can go wrong if you don't do it the right way.
And that's the insides.
Yeah. But I mean, hanging windows maybe is like a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
But nothing in construction is like rocket science. It's doing your research, educating yourself. So
See, the plumbing and the electrical, those scare me because if those go wrong, you're dealing with water problems
yes, yeah.
or fire.
Or fire, yeah.
Electrocution.
Yeah. Plumbing is super simple.
Really?
Actually, now that I've kind of started to get into it. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry to all the plumbers out there. Like, I don't want to sound like a jerk. But like, I go, McCoy has a fantastic team. And if
Yeah.
I'm not sure about something, I can go in there. I can explain them my situation. I will show them pictures. They will walk me through it. They now have, it's not like you're not working with the galvanized pipe anymore. That is super difficult and complicated, and everything has to be the right length, and then you have to thread it. I mean, you're working with these PEX pipes that are bendy and move around corners easy, and they have shark bite fittings so that things just slide together. So, or crimp fittings, which are also super easy to work with. And so it's become more easy. And if you have, we in Moscow, we have McCoys, and
They're fantastic.
yeah, and they're super willing to help you kind of DIY it. And so since we have that resource available, electrical, yeah, I would say probably don't do electrical. Like, I mean, if you want to switch out like your outlets from if you have like cream color and you want white, that's pretty basic.
That's the
But-
extent of my electrical. It's like,
Electric.
if I can take it apart, look at exactly what it was, and just put the
Put it
new
back.
thing in, like light fixtures, no big deal,
Yeah.
outlets. But like
Yeah.
wiring something, it's funny because I've had people say to me like, "Oh, come on, electrical is so simple. It's just boom." But
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's that may be, but I feel like it's simple if you know
Yeah, if
all
you
those like
understand
you
it.
get into like a branch, circuit, whatever.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Like a switch leg, this, and then I'm like, I'm out. I can't.
Yeah, when we did the Airbnb, I had somebody walk me through it, and then I ran all the wires and did, because it was just, putting it in and putting it into the boxes and staples and stuff, and then I had it all come down to our panel, and then I hired somebody to come in to actually connect it to the panel, because I was like, that's like a lot
and
of
insurance
electricity.
questions would probably be another factor on some of that, wouldn't it? If you had a problem and you didn't install it correctly, could
I
insurance
don't-
be a question?
Good
I
question.
don't think so. Don't
Okay,
quote me on that.
we won't. But we will play it. But
I think there's a lot of, so like with permitting and stuff, it's super weird as a contractor. Like, I can't do my own electrical and plumbing in somebody's house. In the state of Idaho, you can technically do it if the total job is less than $2,000, because it's then considered a handyman job. So it's kind of weird. I hire out my electrical and plumbing. In my own house, I'll do it. And homeowners have a lot of like grace as to the things that they're allowed to do themselves, and so they can save money that way. And
Okay.
I don't think insurance takes a place into it. Like permitting with the city, they're totally fine if homeowners do things themselves.
oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Switching out the outlets, sorry, it made me think through the ones you did that I still really love, the snap lights or whatever they were called. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
total jump off topic, but we love those.
Snap
Have you
lights.
seen those? that what
Well,
they're
those
called?
weren't the outlet, but
No.
yeah, have you seen? They're like it's a light. It's an outlet cover that has the little prongs on it, and then it has a what do you call those night lights at the bottom, like
Yeah,
But they
little
shoot
LEDs.
down towards the floor.
Yeah,
So-
we have them in our kitchen.
I
so
love
that
that.
our kitchen's just slightly lit up at
Yes.
night if we get up. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, there's cool
those
stuff
are
like that.
That's hot tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're doing. Are you doing mostly bathrooms, kitchens? You mentioned bathrooms.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it's happened. I've done other small things for people, like I did a deck repair not too long ago. Yeah, but like for the I've just quoted like a fireplace installation.
Oh, nice.
But for the most part, it's just been kind of bathrooms and kitchens. Actually, there's been a lot, or more handyman like patching drywall or something like that.
Gotcha.
So.
Have you been doing a fair bit of tile work with those bathroom kitchen remodels?
Yeah, usually there's something. I'm not doing tile exclusively because when I kind of started, that's all I was doing. And then when I decided to actually kind of make this a career and start a business, then I realized, okay, there's not enough tiling to do just tiling. So, but yeah, I do usually tile at least every project.
Nice.
Is there something that you enjoy the most doing? No, you said you like the whole visionary, like starting from the beginning, talking through ideas with people, all of that. But like in terms of an actual, like, man, I just love tiling, or I love
Or I really
trim
don't.
carpentry, or I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
No, I think I like it all. Honestly, my favorite part is like the public relations and writing up plans and the kind of that prep stage and the communication and style design, like picking stuff. That is, I think, my most favorite part. And as far as the actual construction, I kind of like all of it. I also sometimes don't like all of it. If it's super cold, if it's super cold and you're like outside, then it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
That's not so fun. I remember back when I did framing years ago in Michigan, I remember we had to, like, you would have to quit working because all the airlines would freeze, for the nailers and stuff. It's like, this is just too cold. This is when you're spending half of your day just fighting the cold and not actually working.
Yeah,
it's a little bit rough.
We did when I used to work for a different company, we did a house out in Deary like 3 years ago, and it was on top of a hill, and they had like one day they had like 3 feet of snow dump in a day, and I came home and like my back was just like blue, and I was like, that's cool, like I'm getting frostbite, it's fine, like I should definitely keep doing this.
Oh, man.
Well, we're running out of time, but briefly, when did you come to Moscow?
I've been here for 7 years.
And what brought you down to Moscow?
The University of Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you meet your wife down here?
No, I've actually known my wife since I was 2. Yeah.
I
Awesome.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I told my mom when I was 6 that I was going to marry her.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
So, and then we didn't start dating until 2016, January
Okay.
2016.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Did I know that? I don't know.
So,
But then Hannah's got a really good eye for design too.
yes, yeah. So she really likes to do that type of thing. And we play off each other actually super well. Sometimes if I'm trying to come up with like a design, trying to deal with a design question and trying to work through something, she can sit down with me and like just kind of point out the obvious things that for whatever reason I can't see. You stare at something for too long
Yeah.
and then you can't see the obvious solutions.
Yep.
So,
That's really fun.
yeah.
Now I'm going to have my last question too. What is your favorite tool? Do you have a favorite tool? And are you DeWalt, Milwaukee?
DeWalt,
DeWalt,
for
okay.
sure. Sorry, Milwaukee people, but they're terrible.
No, we like DeWalt too.
Okay.
Anything battery powered. I love DeWalt stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. My wife, like, it's nice. You hear like stereotypical jokes about couples and husbands buying tools. Like, my wife does not care. Like, she's totally on board with me buying tools. Gosh, my favorite tool. I think it depends on the day, but probably just my impact. Like, super basic, but it's definitely the one I use all the time. That or my multi-tool probably.
Probably what you can't go with. Yeah, the impact wrench or driver, right?
Yeah.
That's what you probably can't go without.
I can't go without it, and I love it. I like using it. I have a really small one that's not like they have the newer ones that are better and more powered, and I have a couple of them, but I don't use them really. I just use my little guy. So
Yeah, DeWalt's awesome. There's and they're like constantly coming out with new
Oh man.
My brother-in-law has the inflator.
Oh, yeah, we
The
don't have that.
inflator.
It's like it's 20 volt, DeWalt, but it's like almost a mini air compressor, but it's not a compressor. It's just small, and he just keeps in the car, like, blow up bike tires or
wow.
If you're going
like
to the river, inflate your
inflating
tubes.
your tubes, like anything. Is just like,
Camping
but he's
mattresses.
got Jerry's like got all the
Well,
new
for
DeWalt
camping,
tricks.
I really want we kept talking about this. There was a couple things. One,
We did bring some of our DeWalt tools camping last year.
I have
I
my
would-
radio, so that we have the sound machine for the boys when they're sleeping.
so that you can, that
charge
makes
your
sense.
phone.
You can charge your
Like-
phone.
I want
know.
a vacuum to vacuum out the tent.
We have one.
Do you do that? We
yeah,
don't
the
have
little
that.
Do you have the shop vac or the little?
I
Yeah.
have like the little tiny one that's all like in
Nice.
one piece. Super
Yeah.
handy. We use it to just clean out our cars super quick.
Yeah.
I will tell you what my new favorite tool is. I just bought the DeWalt brad nailer. I thought it was gimmicky and kind of dumb, and I just didn't buy it. And finally I was like, I do it so many little things that it's just not worth it for me to like set up my compressor and everything to come in here and like shoot 10 nails. So I bought it, but it was kind of expensive, and I didn't think that I would really use it that much. I use it all the time. Like, I will never use my pneumatic.
Because then
brad
you don't have,
They're so handy. It's kind of big and clunky, but it's really not. Like, I never struggled getting it into tight places. And so, yeah, if I were to pick one right now, it's amazing. And I'm going to get the battery operated stapler too.
Oh, wow.
nice.
So,
I also love, this is not a tool for construction, but the battery operated leaf blower.
yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
And it's
Super
really
powerful.
good for snow removal.
Oh,
If it's like a light, fluffy snow, I just go out and blow our walkways.
Nice.
that's smart.
And their weed eater's really good too.
I
I know
love
we have
the
the
weed
weed eater.
Oh my
Yeah.
word, it's so light and you can
I
take
couldn't
it
because we
anywhere.
live out of town. We've got quite a bit of property, and I was kind of like, "There's no like, I need a big steel, gas powered weed eater." Like that thing, it'll get through some hefty
And the
big old
batteries
thithistles, and
Last.
They last and you can, it's
pretty
light.
killer.
You can just take it anywhere. I love that.
I don't know, no more like priming and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, DeWalt commercial now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sponsor us.
We
Yeah,
should be
really.
sponsored. Awesome. Well, thanks, Marshall. Thanks for taking the time. And where do people find you, your contact information, if they want to bid or start talking about ideas for their projects?
Yeah, I am on Facebook and on Instagram, so you guys can message me there.
And what's your handle on those?
Yeah.
Handle?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not super techie. On Instagram, I think it is Gallagher Contract _ Moscow.
Okay.
And then Facebook is just Gallagher Contracting.
Awesome.
Cool.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks again, Marshall.
You bet.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week.